Give everybody a few more minutes to get on in, y'all. What's up, Mud Pie? I don't know how well we're going to be able to do today. We've had some storms, and it's messed up our internet, and they've been working on it for the last 2 days. So they thought they were done yesterday. I was going to go live earlier today, and it went out. Did you switch it over?
Yeah, we're already on.
Go ahead and switch it over. Ain't that many people in here yet. Hurry up. Billy Branch Homestead, what's up? Where you been? A long time no see. Boom, boom. All right. All right. All right, here we go. Let me catch up on all of these. Wow. A bunch of y'all snuck in there for a second. Boom, boom, boom. Willow Creek, what's going on? Willow Creek, this is definitely one you need to pay attention to. This Trap Talk. My Little Homestead, Duckhead Homestead, Andy's Backyard and Shop. Mud Pie, already said hi to Robbie Moore. Billy Branch. Hey, baby. Hey, beautiful. My Little Homestead. How you doing? Okay. All right, we're going to give everybody a few minutes to get back in here. And we're gonna talk about a certain trap today. And the trap that we're going to talk about today is the MB550. Now, stop, Robin. Robin's gonna make me blush. This trap is specifically for canines, cats. You can catch foxes, coyotes, bobcats. You can catch mountain lions. I would probably go to the larger one of this one for any of your larger ones, wolves, mountain lions, stuff like that. But that being said, I have seen jaguars and pumas in this trap, and it held them just fine. Now, Willow Creek, you're going to be looking more for a coon cuff, and let me see if one is going to be the one from Duke, but you can order from us, and it's just a pull, just a pull trap. Stay. Blaze! Carol! Bring me 2 coon cuffs, a Duke and a new Freedom brand. One Duke, one brown one, and one of the new ones.
You have internet yet?
Kind of. It's fading in and out.
Oh, what's going on?
They're out there working at the street. I need a Duke coon cuff and a Freedom brand coon cuff. Aloha! Okay. Alright, so we're back. Alright, here we go. So that's Blaze is bringing me the 2 coon cuffs so I can show Willow Creek. But we're going to be our focus is going to be on the MB550. Now, the MB550 is a foothold trap, like I was saying earlier. It is designed to catch your canines and your cats. I'm going to show you a brand new one, and I'm going to show you the one that I have set up for my trap line this year. That's why I'm putting the gloves on. Alright. This is mine that I have set up already for this year's trap line. It has, as you can see, it's still not as dark as I would like, because this is still relatively a new trap. We're still letting it rust, and we use black walnut hulls to dye our traps. Okay, this is a good foothold. It is offset. The jaws are offset, meaning they don't touch, and they're laminated, which means they're smooth, so that there's no rough spurs or anything in there, so that way it would cut the animal's foot. It's also what they call base plated. That is this extra steel down here. Okay, that's to give the bottom part of the trap extra support, because when you catch a large canine, they'll tend to bounce. They'll be in there and they'll be bouncing. Okay, and that, if you don't have this base plate on it, after so many times, it'll start to bend the bottom of your trap, which will then have an effect on how your jaws are held together. Okay, now this trap is also what we call night latched, and basically what that is, never done this from a seated position. Okay, alright, if you guys remember in my trapping 101 video, I went over all the parts of the trap. Okay, you have the jaws, you have this piece right here, which is called the dog. This is called the pan. These are the levers, and under here you have the springs. Okay, now the trick to this, when you're setting these traps in the ground, is you want this puppy to be as level as possible, and then you have to bed this trap and make it as solid as possible, so that way it doesn't do this. Well, as you can see right now, this thing is nowhere near level because the pan is up so high. Okay, so what the Minnesota trapping company done is they night latched this, where they put a nick in the dog, this part right here, so that way you know exactly when this pan is level. And I want you to listen. You'll hear it. You hear that click? Okay, now look at the pan. See how level it is? The reason for this, okay, is so when that canine or cat is coming up, you don't want this pan to fall as he's before the trap fires. See, right now it is a hair trigger. Okay, you so much as breathe on this thing, it'll go off. Watch. Just very little pressure. Blammo. Got him. And as you can see, the latch with the notch in it right there. Okay. Oop, let it focus. Okay, you see how it notched right there? Now, if you're having coyotes, bobcats, foxes come around and getting your chicken, this is the trap you need. If you're having problems with coons and possums, not the trap you need. This trap is anchored into the ground. You have a swivel, then you have another swivel with an S hook, and then I anchor it to an earth anchor. Okay, and then you drive it in the ground with a drive stake. Okay, hit on this end, that end goes in the stake like such. Okay, then you drive it in. Okay, I always drive mine in to the first swivel. This right here, I drive it all the way down into the ground. Once I got it to that point, I grab my trap and I yank on it. And what that does is takes this bullet right here, this earth bullet, from going like this to like this. And that's how it anchors in the ground. Okay? And then you have different sets to go along with it. Now, here's what a brand new one looks like with a little bit of rust on it. Okay? All shiny and new. Okay? Now, these run approximately, I think it's like, Robin, help me out here. It's like 18 bucks a piece or 17 something a piece, and they come just like this. Okay, there's no anchoring system on there. We can put the anchoring system on there for you, but it would be just a little bit more. Great trap, made in America. Made in America. Now, why is that trap, before we go any further, if you're having a situation kind of like Willow Creek is having on their homestead, okay, and Willow Creek has a lot of youngins. They have, I believe they have a dog. Correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all got a dog. And they had one of their turkeys get killed. Predator got it. From what she described to me, it sounds like a possum or a coon. You can catch possums and coons in this, okay? And one of the things about this, that if you don't have youngins running around that would step on it, even if they stepped on it, it wouldn't hurt them, because their feet would be too long. Okay, so the trap wouldn't close on them. It would just push their foot up, and then it probably would scare the bejeebus out of them, but that's about it. If you don't have a dog or you don't have youngins running around and you really don't know what the predator is, it's always best to go to this one first. Okay, because this can hold a possum, and this can hold a coon. This definitely can hold a skunk. Been there. And it can hold the fox, the bobcat, the coyote. It can hold just about everything but a bear. Okay, and that's just because his feet are too big. Very well put together trap. But if you do have youngins and you do have a dog running around, you don't want to go to that trap, because you don't want to, one, you don't want to catch your youngins, which you really wouldn't. And you don't want to catch your dog. So what do you do in a situation when you know that it's either a coon or a possum? Okay, well, this is where this trap comes into play. Okay, this is called your dog-proof trap, or the coon cuff. Okay, I'm only going to talk about these real quick because Willow Creek's here, and I told him I would. These all have been the nuisance wildlife trapper's best friend since they came out about 10 years ago. Maybe the Little Grizz came out. It was the first one. But anyway, okay. This is a Freedom brand one right here, made in America. America. This is a Duke. I don't know where it's made. The major difference between these two, besides the plate on the back, these are the ones that Willow Creek you need. Okay, and I'm going to say this, as much as I support Buy American, this is not the one you want, because this one has what they call a push-pull trigger. Now let me see if I can get a picture of the trigger in here. You see that down in there? That's the trigger, okay? Now, this trigger will fire this trap whether you're, now watch this hook right here. Whether I push on it, see how it moves? Oh, so slightly. Or I pull on it. See how it moves? Make sure nothing in there. This one has the same type trigger, but this one is a pull only. So that means if you set this one and you're husky and you put stuff in there that the husky may want, he may go in there and be licking at it and put enough pressure to push the bait down, which will push the trigger down, which will then have him out there like with his tongue in here. Trust me. That genius has come close to doing it a couple of times himself. Haven't you, Apollo? Apollo! Say hello. So, we don't set this one on our homestead where he can have access to it. Now, I'll run this on my trap line all day long with the girls, because this steel plate they can step on, because all you've got to do to set it is squeeze it. Now this trap is ready to fire. Okay, this one's ready to go. That's all they got to do. So my girls can set this trap down like this, step on it, and then they set it, and then they don't need daddy anymore, which a little bit heartbreaking, but it is what it is. Now, the Duke trap sets the same way except for the dog right here, okay? Squeeze it down. Get the dog on your fingers. Get the dog on your two fingers. Take your booger finger and your birdie finger and just push that dog down. Slide. Okay, somebody let me know if I'm back. Okay, so you take your booger finger and your birdie finger and you push, you grab a hold of the dog right there and you push it down, right, okay, and then you slide it into that notch on the trigger right there, okay, right there. All right, now this trap is set, and it's got the automatic thing where you can it can get stabbed right into the ground. Okay, now how I do it on my homestead, Willow Creek, is I take airline cable. Okay, you can get any size you want. I think this one is the 3/32. maybe a little bit, maybe it's the 1/4 inch. I wouldn't go less than a 1/4 inch. Airline cable. I put a hoop in one end, okay, and then I just attach the other end to the swivel, so the swivel can still move. Okay, if I was really smart, I probably would have went through the hole, but this is what happens when you have children and you get distracted. And then all you do is, if there's a tree around, a fence post, anything, you wrap this around the tree, okay, and whoosh, slide that down on it like that, and it's basically you're making a half hitch, okay, and then your trap will be anchored whoosh, to the tree. Now, I wouldn't put it on that many fence posts. And here's why. This is what made me stop putting it on fence posts. I had a raccoon one time. I had it around a tree. And he was an old big boar coon, old big male. And he thought that it was just the best thing in the world to take this airline cable with that had the hoop around it, okay, and it was latched down on the tree, and he just pretended he was a lineman going to fix some telephone lines, and he went boogity 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 up the tree till he couldn't go no more, and then he just like tried to cowabunga drop. Whoa, I'm gonna be in so much trouble. And he tried to cowabunga drop out of the tree. So he was hanging there like this when I got to him, and I didn't get to him in the morning. He was gone by the time I got there, and he finally slipped out and went on down the road. But I caught him 2 traps later down there. And when I caught him, this whole arm came off. Right? What's up, Ricky Wallace? Ricky, I gotta talk to you after this. But I caught him 2 traps down. The reason why I say you might not want to stick on fence posts, because if you get a coon like that and he tries to scurry up the fence, he could take it off the fence post. So if you can find a tree or something that has another branch that stops him from going but to a certain point, you'll have him. The nice things about these, they make what they call a deep arm catch. Okay, they will catch him. Okay, unlike this trap catches them by the foot. Okay, step down on it and you'll catch him here. Maybe catch him by his pad, catch him by his toes. Okay, when you're dealing with a raccoon, they tend to want to chew on themselves. Because on a coon, from their fingertips to about the elbow, there's nothing really there that's all important to them. Okay? They can live without it. And so they'll gnaw it off if they sit in these too long. But with this one, you make a deep arm catch where you're up there by his elbows sometimes. Okay? And so he won't gnaw anything off. Because the last thing you want to do is to hurt a critter and have him wandering around the woods looking like Captain Hook. Okay? So, you don't want to do that. So, Willow Creek, if I was you, this Duke dog proof would be the trap I would use. I would probably get 2, 3, if you can afford to, get half a dozen. And place them out around the kill area where the turkey was taken. Look for game trails. And then place them all around the game trails. And then you'll come back and I'll bet my farm sooner or later you're going to have a possum or a coon in there. And that's what got your turkey. All right, back to the MB550. All right, we talked about how the jaws are offset and it's laminated, so they're smooth in there. Okay. We talked about how it's night latched. We talked about how it's made in America. I know that feeling. She said, we homestead, we can't afford anything. That's funny. That's why I sell traps. This is what they call a coil spring trap because the springs are coiled versus some of your beaver traps, they're called long springs. And we'll talk about them. I'll show you that on a different day. Back up. What was the last thing you guys heard? This internet thing's getting very frustrating. What was the last thing you guys heard me say? Probably need to put that away and just watch this. Alright, by the look of the video, it looked like you guys got most of that. Alright, what puts... Okay, nothing missed. What puts this MB550 above your Victor 1.75, your Duke 3.5, your Duke number 4, any other type of foothold trap that's designed for coyotes, foxes, cats? Well, the Minnesota brand took all the work basically out for you. I have ordered some of these traps, taken them right out of the box, didn't dip them, didn't wax them, didn't dye them, didn't do anything to them except put an anchoring system on them and ran to a golf course to catch some coyotes and had absolutely no problem. Now, they do come with a little bit of the greasy film on them, but you just stop by the car wash and you spray them off with a high pressure hose. Any of your other traps, you're going to have to modify to get to right here, to where this one is at. Your Victor 1.75 does not come offset. You have to buy the offset jaws, and you have to replace those jaws. It does not come laminated, okay? Which is the extra strength and the smooth right up here in this top part of the jaw. As you can see on this one, the steel is a lot thicker. Okay, what's that? Maybe half an inch, maybe a quarter of an inch, 7/16 maybe. It's a lot thicker up there. The jaws are a lot thicker. That means they're a lot stronger. Your pan, which is this part right here, the tension is already set. I think it's set at 2.5 pounds, 3 pounds maybe. It's very light. And it comes night latched. That is probably the most important modification out there. Because, like, at the conference, I had my Victor 1.75. And to be able to get that pan at level like I did, like I'm able to with this one, it's a hit or miss. And sometimes that trap goes off in my hand. At least with this one, you heard the click, click, and it's good to go. Now, does anybody have any questions so far? Either about the MB550 or the coon cuff? You said John's starting to run a fever, huh? That's not good. That's not good. So I'll give it a few minutes before we'll see if anybody has any questions. Alright. Looks like no questions. Alright. Now, there are some tricks that you can use to your advantage to help trapping the coyote. Everybody, you know, there's that old saying, sly as a fox, or what was the other one? Sly as a fox, tricky as a fox, or something like that. Anyway, believe it or not, foxes are really easy to catch. Most of the time you catch them because the fox ain't paying attention. He pounces a lot. The fox will pounce. Where a coyote is a little bit more cautious when he's stalking his prey. And sometimes there's usually more than one coyote, where a red fox and a gray fox are solitary. And alright, Willow Creek, the fox, like I said, will pounce. So if he sees the dirt hole set that you made, or he's got something that catches his eye, he'll just pounce, usually with both feet. You'll catch him by both feet. Where a coyote, he's going to be very cautious. He's going to circle it a couple of times. Blaze caught his very first gray fox on a coon set on the other side of a log, and a gray fox was going after a field mouse and just jumped. Whammo. And he had him by both feet in a little number one. It was crazy. So some of the tricks that you can do, and I say all of that because your pan, see how it's got that open space right here? When you sift the dirt and stuff, that dirt, rocks and stuff can get up underneath there. And so you need to put something underneath there to stop that from happening. But something that's also not going to let the put any more tension on the pan or stop the pan itself from going down. Now, there are fancy covers that you can buy. It's little mesh netting that you can buy that goes over the pan and tucks up underneath the jaw. And if you just gotta have those, I will sell them to you. There's a nice trapper's pan cap that you can put down over top of this, and then you can sift all of the dirt back around, and then you can gently pull off the cap, and then lightly sift some more dirt on top. If you want that, I'll sell it to you. I'll try to talk you out of it. But I'll sell it eventually at the end of the day. If that's what you want, I'll sell it to you. But, if you're listening to me, you won't waste your money. Even though that money would be coming to me, you won't waste that money. You will go to Goodwill. Or you will look at one of your kids and say, you've grown out of that stuffed animal. And you take said stuffed animal. And you get all the polyfill out of the animal. The polyfill will not hold any scent. That's the number one reason why it's okay to use. It won't hold any odor. And you can put a bunch of it right up underneath here. Okay? And that'll hold that pan. And it'll stop any dirt from getting underneath there. And then again, just like the stuffed animal, just like toilet paper, it's squeezable. It won't slow the pan down. It won't prevent the pan from going down when the animal steps on it. A 10-cent stuffed animal from the Goodwill, because you know you got to go to Goodwill. Your eyes are going to take you to the Goodwill. 10-cent stuffed animal from the Goodwill to be able to just take the polyfill out. Or if your wife's very crafty and she has some polyfill, go in there and tell her how beautiful she is and put yourself, get the polyfill behind you and have her here, you here, and the polyfill back here. And just kind of like scratch your back like this. Reach in that bag, grab you a nice little handful, stick it in your pocket. You know, you could get one of these Big Bear hoodies with the pockets right here. You can just get you a nice handful like this as you're talking. Baby, you are so beautiful today. You're having a very pretty day today. Oh, I love you so much. And you just put it right there in that pocket. Got it. Because I have never done that before, though. I've always gotten it from stuffed animals. But that is the perfect thing to put underneath this trap pan. Okay? The perfect thing to do. And then, see, Palmetto. You can do that. I know you can do that. You can be slick like that. Now, the most important thing when setting any foothold trap, any foothold trap, minus the dog proof, minus the coon cuffs, is you have to bed this trap. Now, what I mean by bed it is you put it in the ground and you start packing the dirt around it so that way it doesn't wobble. It doesn't move. You want this as like it's a part of the ground. All around the outside of the jaws. Okay, not on top of the jaws. You don't pack it down on top of the jaws to stop it from firing. But all around the outside of the jaws. Okay? And you want to bed that puppy in there solid and hit that front jaw. Push on it. After you think you got it bedded. If it wiggles it, jam it in there some more. Once that puppy is solid, then you start sifting it. And then try to camouflage that area that you dug up to bed this trap in. You want it to kind of, you want to get it as close to looking like that area whatsoever. You want it to blend right back in. Okay? So you may have to walk up underneath some trees and alright, Palmetto, hit me up and we'll talk. I'll get you some good prices. And so that puppy gets bedded in there. Because, look, that's what I try to tell everybody. These animals, they play the game of survival every day. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So when you're trapping a critter, it's a game of wits. It's a battle of wits. And you have to be smarter than they are. And please, do not assume just because you stand upright and have opposable thumbs that you're smarter than those critters. Like the alpha male coyote, he didn't get to be there from being dumb. Okay? That old coon, that old wise male coon, he didn't get to be big and wise. He didn't get to be big and old because he was stupid. Okay? So if they step, they just don't step on that pan like you want to. They just happen to hit the front part of the jaw and the ground moves, they'll back away. Because in their mind, the ground's not supposed to move when I step on it. Okay? Uh-oh, mommy's here. I got a beautiful lady.
I can't move anywhere though.
That's all. You want me to get you a chair and bring it over for you?
No, you can talk and do your thing. I'll just sit over here off screen.
Oh, now you're gonna make kissy faces at me and distract me.
So anyway, what were you saying about how stupid, not stupid animals were?
Mm-hmm. And so it moves just a little bit. Yes, Green Gables, if you guys want to purchase these traps, go ahead and contact us at bigbearfarms@hotmail.com. We are still looking for somebody to help us build our website. Because, Robin can build a website, but this is just way too much to put on her plate to be able to get it and then get the store situation hooked up and everything. So if you know somebody that can build websites, send them my way. And I am open for trading. I'll trade some traps for them doing the website or something. I don't know, within reason. People are the easiest animals to trap/track. We are also the only animals that don't know where they're always being hunted. Green Gables builds websites. We need to talk, Green Gables. Big time. Now, all animals, whether it's the masked bandit, the raccoon, the possum, the skunk, the wolf, the coyote, palmetto paratrooper, or USA kiwi, we're all creatures of habits. People take the same road, the same way to work every morning. They take the same way to the grocery store every day. And your critters are creatures of habit. They will take the same path all the time until something changes. Then they are extremely cautious with it. And the thing about trails, game trails and paths, everything, what's up, Uncle Buck? Everything will take that path. Coon, possum, yote, deer, wolverine, beaver. They'll all take that path because it's the path of least resistance. That's why when you are building your chicken coops, here's some free information. Don't make it so easy. But that's about all when it comes to the MB550. American made trap. It is how much a piece?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
No,
You're the
I don't.
guru. I think it's right around 1750, 1780.
I'm looking.
Robin's looking it up right now. A piece, and again, that does not include an anchoring system. Now let's talk about. You know what? Let's talk about the anchoring system for a second. If you are like Mama Old Ways, and you live close to the beach, and you have very sandy soil, you do not want the bullet, the earth anchor bullet that I showed you that's on mine. No, because you don't have enough ground, enough oomph to hold it. Okay, you're gonna want to put either some airline cable on here, a very long section of airline cable on here to be able to wrap it around a tree or something like that, or you're gonna want to put on here what's called a drag. Now, if you or your husband welds, I will sell you a drag, but he can build one out of rebar. It's basically make an anchor. Just 3 prongs. Take the rebar, bend it in a U, sharpen up one end a little bit, Do it 3 times like a treble hook on a treble hook for a fish. Okay, and you'll want about, now the chain and stuff you do want to buy from me, because the chain that I'll get you is what they call crunch proof. That means when these canines or cats start chewing on this chain, they won't be able to break it. That dog chain and stuff that you can get from Walmart or Home Depot, they'll snap in a heartbeat.
$17.75.
Yeah. All right. This trap by itself is $17.75 a piece. Okay. So if you guys want some of this, let me know. But I'm gonna have some questions for you. If you want us to put the anchoring system on, I'm gonna have some questions for you to ask about your conditions, because the last thing I want you guys to do is to spend $20, $20+ on a trap to get it to you, and you set it out one time and catch a fox or a coyote in your very first night, and then your trap is gone because the earth anchor didn't work. So if you have very sandy, loomy soil, you will not want the earth anchor. What's up, Bon Terre? Bon Terre. Hey, you gonna eat your cornbread? But if you got a guy that can weld or a woman that can weld, you don't want to.
Like Nunda. Nunda can weld.
Yeah, Nunda can weld.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how well, but she can weld.
She can weld. She's got John showing her. She probably does just fine.
Wayne in the house. What's up, Wayne? You're alive.
Now everybody shows up.
Wow.
Okay.
I can't believe it. Wayne is alive, everybody. Wow. What's up, CD? But you're gonna want to put, we're gonna want to put about another 10 or 12 foot of chain on here, and you're also gonna want to put what they call a tension spring on this. Now, what the tension spring is just that. It's like the spring from a screen door, except for it's a little bit stronger. And you hook it to like the end of this swivel and then to another chain. Okay. And what happens is when you catch Wile E. Coyote, you got him, and you don't have, and you can put one of these on with the earth anchor as well. I don't trap for the live market. I trap for the fur. So I don't, I mean, not to sound disheartening or anything, but I don't care if he pulls his shoulder out. You know, where the guys that are trapping to sell the coyotes back on the live market, they do. And that's what that spring does for them with the earth anchors. Because remember when I said when you catch them, they're going to be sitting there and they're going to be going like this. And sooner or later, it's going to pull out. Now, when it comes to the drag, I would put that tension spring in there. Toss your drag out there. Hook it. I always tell somebody, hook it up against a tree. Hook it on a fence post. Kick it into the ground. Kick one of them claws into the ground. Give it a good solid, as you can, anchoring point. Now, what this spring does is when the coyote pulls and starts to run, and then he hits that tension from that drag being pushed down into the ground, then he has to start pulling against the spring, then against the drag. It saves you a little bit, maybe, I don't know, it could save you up 25, 100 yards of extra walking trying to locate him. Okay? And but again, you're going to want to have a nice long chain. I think the average is about 12 feet of chain when you're using a drag. Galloway, how long of a chain do you have on yours with your drags? I'm more than likely, once we can afford it, I'm going to switch to drags. I'm trying to get a welder. But I'm going to switch to drags because I live in the granite capital of the world. It seems like sometimes I can't drive them puppies in 6 inches and it's ding, ding. Or I get it drove in and set, then I can't, even with the puller, I can't get it to pull out because it done got locked up underneath a chunk of granite or something, and I end up just getting frustrated and cutting the earth anchor away, and oh, do I get in trouble for that. You know how much a dozen of those things cost, and blah, 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 blah. So, I'm thinking of switching to drags as well, even down here in good old Georgia. So.
What?
Nunda. Did you see what she put?
No, I'm not. I'm getting my stuff together.
I can teach you how to weld if you want.
That's my girl.
Mm-hmm. Like I need to be taught.
You probably do.
I probably need a refresher course. But I know how to weld. So, any questions when it comes to